What's going on, you bunch of heretics? Grab your paint pots, grab your recaf, and let's get some paint on that ever-growing pile of potential. It's here. The Heresy is My Therapy podcast. Now, for those of you that kind of knew this all before things kind of took off a little bit, I did have a bit of a mini podcast before, and it was the same sort of set that we have here today, in the car, on the way to work, and just kind of giving you guys an audio-only podcast. Now, I brought the podcast back, but I've started it again, just complete refresh from the beginning, rebranding the whole 9 yards, as you probably see from this home screen right now that you're looking at, a nice big on-air, what we're going to talk about, season 1, episode 1, and yeah, I'm running it in kind of seasons. I think what we're probably going to do is maybe scrap the seasons. It should just say episode 1 of many to come. I don't know. I know I've been really bad at not maintaining this. However, I'm trying to stick to Mondays. You guys are going to get this audio only podcast because let's be honest here, who actually watches a podcast? You just have it in the background playing and just listen in, don't you? I'm sure you do. I mean, unless people actually watch it, I don't know, but I kind of feel like a podcast should just literally be that, a podcast where you're just kind of listening in, rather than watching my stupid face talking to someone. It's probably really just having a conversation, just listening in and giving you my controversial, heretical opinions on what's going on in the world of Warhammer and, of course, the tabletop community, if you will. Now, I get it. Everyone's got a podcast. Sure, I get it. Don't worry. I absolutely hear you. Every man and his dog's got a podcast these days. But you know what? Everyone's got a voice. Everyone's got an opinion on something. And I figured, you know what? What better way for me to just vent out on a Monday morning about what's going on in the Warhammer community? Which a lot of times, it could be helpful. It could be a rant. It could be all sorts. It could be some controversial takes on some stuff. There will be today. Not going to lie. There's going to be some things that may or may not upset you. I don't know. But as always, I can guarantee this. It is definitely the worst Warhammer podcast out there. It is definitely the worst tabletop gaming podcast out there. That I can absolutely guarantee you. The audio is terrible because I'm in my car. There is no visual things to look at. Just a conversation with me and you guys out on the open road. So yes, it is back. The Heresy is My Therapy podcast. This is it though. The very, very first episode. We're starting from scratch. We're starting from here. That is it. Endo story. All right. So I'm going to try and keep it with you. I'll keep you updated if there are going to be podcast episodes or not. But I'm going to try and keep it that Monday here on Heresy is My Therapy, you're going to get a podcast on a Monday, tutorial on a Wednesday, and a tutorial on a Saturday. So content 3 times a week from Heresy is My Therapy, because you guys, the amazing Warhammer community, the amazing Heresy community, you guys deserve it. So I suppose it's a bit of a look forward too. What else is going to be going on? Well, I've got some things coming up in the pipeline, and something I've got going on in November, which will then hopefully start something going into the new year, which I'm very much hoping to do. But that's a little bit away. Am I bringing back the merchandise? Do you know what? I am thinking about it. I've got a few ideas for a few t-shirts and bits and pieces for the merch. Because you got to have merch these days. You got to have a brand. You got to have a podcast. You got to have merch. Because that's 2024 and the world we live in. Because it's all about content, and social media and branding. So I know the irony of that while I'm saying it. I get it. I do. Of course I do. So yes, that's really kind of where we are. Podcast every week. I know I said that before, but it's going to be happening on a Monday as I drive to work, chatting to you guys. While hopefully you get this, you're just listening in and either agreeing or disagreeing. And if you are agreeing or disagreeing, give that constructive feedback. I want to know what you think. I want to know what your thoughts are so that we can bring it up next week. Go in on me. Go in on me hard. Go in on me on stuff. If you don't agree with it, let me know. Let me know. And as many of you know, on Instagram, I generally pretty much get back to everyone that messages me. I try and do my best at getting back to everyone, whether that be a long, how-to on something, or just a quick like emoji of a laugh, because I know you guys love. I do get a few funny videos sent over, which is lovely. So please, if you do message on Instagram, I generally will get back to you pretty quickly on stuff to try and help out with bits and pieces. But if you're not happy about something that I may have said on this podcast, either message me directly on Instagram, you're more than welcome to, and I will get back to you, or leave it in the comments for all to see and get that topic of discussion on the go. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into it today. Because I put out on Instagram the other day, I did mention, what was it you guys wanted to kind of talk about. One of the main ones, you could talk about Heresy all day long, but one of them was where to start. Where to start in this world of Warhammer. And I suppose it's my 5 pence of, excuse me, it is my 5 pence of where I think you would start in this wargaming world, because there are so many gaming systems to choose from, not just in the Warhammer space, although this kind of mini podcast thing will kind of focus on Warhammer. I will focus on Warhammer 40k and its subsequent games like Kill Team and boarding actions. A lot of boarding actions, a lot of Kill Team, I will say, are going to come. That's going to come in a moment. And of course, in the world of Age of Sigmar as well. Where do you go with that? Lord of the Rings. I suppose first things first, and realistically, where do you start in your tabletop gaming journey? Well, I suppose really it comes down to, what do you like? Do you like Star Wars? Do you like fantasy? Do you like sci-fi? Do you like World War II, battle reenactment gaming systems? And there is literally a gaming system for everyone. Like, not just Warhammer, but like across the platform, there is so many, so many gaming systems. Recently, I really like, there's so many gaming systems to choose from, and so many offer really, really good value for money starter sets. Prime example, Shatterpoint, Star Wars Shatterpoint from Atomic Mass Games. I am very much really, really wanting to get that, because the models, they're nice and they're quite big. I think they're 32mm scale, maybe a touch bigger, maybe in 38. Please correct me, someone, if I'm wrong. And the models are absolutely splendid. Plastic, you get loads of scenery, dice, rules, and at a price point, I think it's about £120 to £130, depending on where you shop. The value for money is really, really good there. And it is all about value for money. You've also got Lord of the Rings. If you like Lord of the Rings, there's Middle-earth strategy battle game. Again, a very well balanced game. And again, they've got battle forces. You've got Osgiliath. You've even got the new edition coming out very soon, which is something we will get onto later on once it starts to come in, which I think is going to be based on the War of Rohirrim. And then, of course, you've got, Infinity with Corvus Belli. You've got Warcrow within Corvus Belli, which is like their fantasy version of their Infinity game. Again, something I haven't got my hands on. I've seen the miniatures for Warcrow, and my goodness, are they lovely. As much as I wanted to get it, I just couldn't get behind the sort of £150 odd pound price point for a gaming system that I don't know anybody else that is either A, interested in, or B, plays. So yeah, that's kind of a frustrating one. So there's both cheaper options and there's either way, if you're getting into this hobby, it's not cheap. All right, the tabletop gaming journey is not cheap. Regardless of what gaming system you go into, you are going to have a pile of potential, a pile of shame, whichever one you want to call it. I like to call it a pile of potential because there is potential all around. So yeah, no matter what gaming system you go into, one, you've got to like the look of the models, first of all. Two, it does help if you have a community of people near you that play the same sort of gaming system. And it's always worth going, finding a local hobby club that have an array of gaming systems. And then of course you've got your local Warhammer store. But there's loads of gaming shops, hopefully, where you are. For me, I know in Newcastle, we've got Warhammer, we've got the Travelling Man, we've got all sorts. Again, it's find a community, a gaming community or gaming club in your local area. They usually advertise on Facebook. And then also just have a little look at all the different gaming systems that are out there. And as always, as I always do, I always use an independent stockist. I do try and use an actual Warhammer store every now and then, mainly for my paints and supplies. But otherwise, a lot of my models I will get from the likes of Element Games, Wayland Games, and all of those is what I generally will do. Speaking of independent stockists, I know it's a bit of a cheesy segue, but if you are after paintbrushes, guys, Chronicle RPG, Chronicle Cards, okay, are giving you, Heresy is My Therapy listeners, 20% off all products across their website. Okay, link will be in the description below, and just use product code Heresy20. That's HERES. Wait a minute. Oh my goodness. Wow, Dan. This is embarrassing. I can't even spell heresy. HERESY 20. Heresy 20. I had a right mind blank there. I'm so sorry. Heresy 20 on Chronicle Cards, Chronicle RPG for 20% site-wide discount on all of your paintbrushes. I use the Teclon Tiger dry brushes for my Slapshot videos, as many of you will have seen. I absolutely love them. I've been using them since UK Games Expo this year, and I absolutely love them. Love them. I really, really do. Anyway, I know it's a bit of that was a cheesy segue to an advertisement placement. I know. Not even scared, not even embarrassed to say it. I'm not. I'm really not. I went there. I did. I went there. Anyway, I digress. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, so obviously getting started out. Finding the game system that you like. Use independent stockists, because generally you'll get either 10, 15 or 20% off most places, which really every little helps, especially with the ever-growing price rises. Across gaming systems, and it isn't just Warhammer that is getting, but I think for me, I will say I do think Warhammer is good value for money. In all fairness, I will say it is good value for money. I'm just throwing it out there. It is. Which leads me on to kind of, if you are going to go down the Warhammer route, of where to start within the world of Warhammer. Now, you know, their starter sets, you know, if you wanted to go straight into Warhammer, generally, Space Marines is a great start. I know people are like, oh, Space Marines. But in all seriousness, Space Marines, heroes of mankind, heroes of the Imperium of man. A great history behind them, and the models look great. There's loads of different options. They're very a generic army to play. There's nothing like specifically like uniquely special. They're a good all-round, good way to start, way to play. And in literally pretty much every single starter set, you're going to get Space Marines and then some sort of either Xenos or Chaos faction. Obviously with 10th edition, we've got all the Tyranny stuff, the models look incredible, and all of the starter sets offer good value for money. You're going to get HQ choice, some battle lines, some troops, infantry, and some cool looking models. Personally, you know, and when you look at some of the costs of what these are, I think the starter sets in both Age of Sigmar and 40k, you are getting great value for money in those starter sets. Okay, so the starter sets, it's exactly what it says in the tin. They're all push fit. So all you need is a set of pliers, and a mold line remover or a nail file. They're all push fit, so it all works nicely. So it clicks together. You've got something to tell you how to do it all. You get some dice, you get some markers, and you can literally put them together and just start playing literally straight away. So, you know, and that's where your kind of plastic pile of shame begins, because you'll have just so many models to go through. But yeah, the starter sets, they're going to give you an easy set of rules, some data sheets to follow, and it's super simple, super easily done. So the start sets are always good. And also as well, like you say, Space Marines and Tyranids. 2 easy factions, there's loads and loads of models. And of course, with all the push fit stuff, you can always get stuff really, really cheap within those ranges. People are always selling them for cheap, all the push fit stuff. So if you're not too fussed, because like you say, you're starting out, so for all those like, well, what about customization? We're talking about where to start, people. Oh, what about kit bashing? What about kit bashing? Leave it alone. We're talking to the people that just want to start the hobby, that are on their journey. Don't worry about the kit bashing stuff, you psychopaths. Posability, the models look great already posed. There's tactical rocks and swords swinging everywhere. This isn't the 90s. Anyway, side ramble there. I don't know why I even went down that road, but I did. I went there. You forced me to, and I'm sorry. But on another one, and one that I have to say I am well and truly impressed with, is the new Combat Patrol. The new Combat Patrol magazine from Hachette Works. Don't worry, I'm not getting some sort of discount. There's no promo code for this. I got the first 2 editions for $4.99, I think it was, and then I think I've got the premium package. I think it's like $11.99 a week. Yes, it's a lot. However, straight away, you've got a Terminator Captain, which, when you think about it, should be about £20-25, is what it would be. The Tyranid Prime, again, £20-25, that's 50 quid. And 3 Von Ryan Leapers. Again, they'll retail between £27 and £35. So already, for $4.99, and I got some dice, some clippers, and a mold line remover. Now, granted, if you're listening to this podcast in 8 weeks' time or 10 weeks' time, you may be a little late to the party. But then again, Hachette Printworks have got this going for God knows how long, so hopefully you might be able to get a copy. But if you're going to go for absolute, and also the magazine as well, I have to say, the magazine's got some really good information. All the data sheets, the actual Combat Patrol data sheets that go with the model, that you can use, I think, as well in all your other gaming systems. And you're getting a how-to play, a breakdown in there as well of what all the stats line mean, what your weapon skill is, what it needs to hit, what it needs to save. And you've got like mini gaming scenarios in each one. So every single week you can build those models, learn about the gaming system, and you're not pitching in 100, 200, 50, 60, 70 good straight away. You can cancel at any time. So if you were listening to this right now and you've never heard of Warhammer, or you're not sure about what it is, I would go and get the Combat Patrol magazine for its ridiculously cheap price that it is at the moment. And if you like it, subscribe. Because going into that, no, you're not going to get 2,000 points of armies. But you know what you are going to get? You're going to get Combat Patrols, but you're also going to get boarding action units. You're going to get boarding action units as well. So when you look at the value for money of what you're going to get over the long-term period, you're building armies slowly, but you can also play them in 2 different gaming systems. Combat Patrol, I suppose really, cancel this. But in essence, you've got 3 ways of playing. One, you can, excuse me, I got a bit of a cough. You can play the way you want to, play the little missions that are in there by yourself, absolutely, and we'll get onto that little thing in a minute. You then got boarding actions, where you're going to build up a boarding actions unit. Yes, you go and get the boarding actions book, which is 30 quid, and that's going to be a whole separate podcast to its own thing, because that boarding actions book, that probably is going to be next week. I'm not going to lie. That deserves its whole episode to itself. And so, yeah, boarding actions, it's just so good. I absolutely love it. And a few good friends of mine have spoken about it. I've had a good separate podcast, Dan, but boarding actions. And then, of course, you get in the Combat Patrol game as well. So that magazine is helping you, one, build up an army slowly, where you're building stuff, buy some primer, and you can start painting away and working at it, and then slowly but surely you're going to build up. And there's like 8 different combat patrols, and the value for money wise, it works out to literally like 50% off, basically. You know, and if you go with the premium pack, you're going to get a Rogel Dawn tank at the end of it. That's insane. There's a Ballistus Dreadnought in there, Howling Banshees. Excuse me, guys, I've got a terrible cough. Not a good way to get on the podcast, is it? So for me, creating content, I suppose, and doing tutorials and stuff is what I do. It's perfect. But also, if you're new to the gaming system, what a great way to build up a great collection. And if you want to like allow your friends to play, get people into the game, you've got loads of models there. And it is a much cheaper way of building, of getting involved in the game with lots of different armies. You're not spending £100 straight away on a combat patrol. You're slowly building it up, and you're spending half the money. I think that's how it kind of works anyway. Maybe it does, I don't know. Or maybe I'm just like drinking the Kool-Aid of it, who knows. But I do actually think if you're going to start playing 40k right now, or Combat Patrol, genuinely, that Combat Patrol magazine is probably one of the best ways to start playing. I actually genuinely really do believe that, all right? And then of course, next up, I suppose in that world of where to begin, Kill Team. Kill Team is also a great way to play. All you're spending, if you know someone who's already got the gaming system, we'll be able to help you with the rules. And for a Kill Team, you're spending 30 quid. 30 quid, build your team, paint them up, done. That's you. I mean, obviously you need to get your dice to miss pieces, but otherwise, what you really need is just a Kill Team. And there is a Kill Team for every faction, pretty much at the moment. And I really like that. We're still yet to see some even more cooler stuff coming out. But again, that's going to be another separate podcast. The whole Kill Team thing, that's going to be a whole separate podcast, of course it is, because there's so much that we're talking about where to start. But again, Kill Team, another great gaming system option. And with the new edition coming out soon, they've updated some bits and pieces. They've gone back to, oh yeah, shock horror. Who would have thought that going with this moves triangle, this shoots square? Who would have thought that nobody really liked that idea and was going like, oh, it's just 6 inches, 9 inches, and 3 inches? Who knew? Who knew? Anyway, that's another separate conversation for the day. But again, Kill Team, another great way of getting into the hobby. Same again with Age of Sigmar. You know, you've got your Spearhead, you've got that Skaven Tide box. And again, the Spearheads, in all fairness, are really good value for money. I actually really, really like. I didn't like the Cities of Sigmar at first, but I saw the box, and I'm not gonna lie, I really like it. Really like it. But again, you know, the starter sets are always a really good option. So where to start? For me, go with a start. First of all, find a gaming system with models that you like. Find a local gaming club. Generally, you know, 40k Warhammer is going to be the more popular ones. It is the biggest one, and yeah, sure, Games Workshop do have a bit of a monopoly on it. I get it, but they're the best at what they do. In all fairness, you know, get into D&D. There's D&D clubs everywhere. You know, maybe start a D&D club with your friends. You know, have a go at that. You know, the D&D, you don't literally need any models, just a walkthrough, talk through RPG, couple of friends over, a few beers. Get into that character. You know, have a go at being the GM, the DM, whichever one you want to call it. Immerse yourself. You literally don't need any models, just a dice, and you're good to go. Cut the dice. And some knowledge playing. And like I say, every single one of these gaming systems offers some sort of offers a starter set of some sort, you know, and generally it's very low investment required. You know, it is generally a very low investment required. It's only when you start breaking off into your own factions and customizations and, you know, really making it your own, does it then become, you know, a bit more pricey, of course. But to start off with, it can be quite cheap. Go with the starter sets, you know, go with something that you quite like the look of. If you're into 40k Space Marines and Tyranids, it's really easy options. you're basically creating aliens versus superhumans. Easy win. Blood, gore, bolt guns going off, big giant spiky monsters that are going to tear your face off with one bite, like biomass, and just eat you up. Can't argue with it. Can't argue with it. So yes, I suppose my point really is this. Where to start? Find a gaming system that you might like the look of, the models that you like, simplicity of the game, and of course look at what starter sets are the best value for you. For me, my recommendation is I would just, grab maybe the first 5 editions of Combat Patrol. Grab the first 5 editions of Combat Patrol, and I think you're going to end up getting Terminator Captain, Von Ryan Leapers, Tyranny Prime, and some Infernus Marines. And it's going to tell you how to play the game. You get dice, the whole lot, real simple, real easy. You're going to get how to play it in a really simplistic and easy way. And the value from there, I think that's like 100 quid worth of stuff. Maybe a bit less, maybe like 80 quid worth of stuff for like a tenner, maybe a bit less. So, have a go at that. Even get the first edition of Combat Patrol. See where that takes you, because the models are outrageously cool for what you get. So that's what I would go with. All right. So hopefully that has kind of answered the question. First of all, as I say, find a gaming system that you like the look of. Maybe find a local club or find out people that play it, and then look what starter sets are available and what is the best price point and best value for money for yourself. Like I say, generally the Warhammer stuff is good value for money, but most gaming systems have a really good entry level way of getting into their gaming system and their gaming system. So just go with that. That's what I would say. They're my ramblings on that one. All right, they're my ramblings, and hopefully that kind of helps. But like I say, Combat Patrol for me, I'm really, really impressed with it. I think it's very good. Some people say, well, they're all scams, these magazines. But when you work out, I think Auspex Tactics did a really good job. If you haven't had a chance to, Auspex Tactics did a really good job of breaking it down. And I think he worked out, if you bought everything we're going to use, everything, it works out to basically half price on everything. It's like half price for everything that you're going to get, which, I gotta be honest with you, that's pretty good value for money. I gotta say, it's pretty good value for money. I will say that. But yeah. Next up, and it's the second topic I want to talk about, because it needs to be spoken. It's a little bit over time now. We've got to talk, and this is like a separate thing now, separate story, if you will. It's the whole Blood Angels thing. Now I'm going to say some things that are going to be real controversial. There's going to be some of you out there that aren't going to like it, but it needs to be said. And I'm not afraid to say those things. I'm not afraid to say it. I'll say the things that those other influencers are too afraid to say. I'll say it. Guys, you don't need nipples on armor. You don't need it. All right? Do you need giant wings on stuff anymore? Nope. No, you don't. I'm talking about the Sanguinary Guard. I really like the new models. They look beefy. They look powerful. They look strong. And I think they play like they look. Sure. They haven't got all the big wings and stuff, but you got to remember, all these wings and all this sort of stuff is from the Heresy era. It's old armor. The Golden Boys are getting some new stuff. New armor. More powerful. To make them the Sanguinary Guard that they deserve to be. The Sanguinor. Again. Here's the problem that we have with the Warhammer community, guys. Is everyone is this classic thing of, it looks too much like the old model. Oh, it's too much like the old model. Oh, just bigger. Yeah, it's an iconic pose of Sanguinor. It's an iconic pose. What else did you want them to look like? The argument for this, like Astorath, the Grim, the we don't talk about Bruno vampire geezer. Yeah, we don't know about that. In the fact that people are like, oh, it just looks like the old model. Oh, well, yeah. I think all of the Blood Angels models look incredible. All of them. There is nothing I do not like. I love all the new models. Lamarty's looks amazing. And this is the point. Oh, he hasn't got his little toes. Paint them on! It's armour. Why would he have bone toes? Like, why would he put bones on his toe? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Paint them on. Paint them on. Okay? Paint them on. Next one of all is, yeah, the Martys. Oh, he looks nothing like the old one. I don't like the new shape. Well, what do you want? You say he looks too much. You say like Astorath and Sanguinor. Oh, he looks too much like the old model. Lamartys has a whole new pose, dynamic, ready to pounce, ready to pounce and cause damage in that Death Company look. Aggressive, ready to ruin someone's day. Oh, it doesn't look anything like the old model. Oh, I prefer the old model. Astorath. Oh, it looks just like the old model. What was the point? Just a bit bigger. What? You can please nobody. Get over it. Honestly. The Sanguinary God, there's only 3 of them. Yeah. I know. There is only 3 of them. Because the other lot, all in the Sanguinary God, are all dead. They're all died. They've all been killed off in all these battles that they've been going through. Poor old Dante went for the Rubicon and once again couldn't die. Oh, the sweet release of death, please. Nope, not for you, Dante. Jeepers. Sorry about that, guys. It's a bad cough. Set off by my ramblings and rantings, this heretic. Ibseen's Papa Nurgle has paid me a visit. Day 1, week 1, new podcast. Feel free to put that in the comment section. I don't mind. Oh, well, when you pay your tribunes to the Chaos Gods, I suppose this is what happens, eh? But yeah, the whole Blood Angels things, I absolutely love them. I think they look absolutely fantastic. I like the whole thing about this whole, the elite of the elite only being in squads of 3, as opposed to 5 or 10 man. Because that is how an elite unit would fight. Small teams that are like punchy, hitting hard. The inner circle, prime example, only 3 required. You know, so I think, if applied correctly, if you look at it in that perspective of them being like the elite of the elite of the core, if you will, the best of the best, will make you better, then that's what you're going to get. You know what I mean? At least they've still got, they've got swords and spears. Oh, they haven't got an axe anymore. Yeah, you got spear and you've got swords. All right? And you've got tactical rocks. Okay? And that's what it's all about. Again, I get it. Some of the iconography isn't as, as nice as it would be. But you have to look at this in this way is we're moving into this new realm of a fighting force being more efficient, more tactically viable. The kit is now more refined. When you look at in that aspect of of technology, R&D all moving forward, in this world of like the 41st millennia, why would it have all this ancient stuff and gothic look? You've got to think the Space Marines are this elite fighting force, so they need to have elite fighting force kit and equipment. It needs to be futuristic. It needs to be hard hitting. So I actually prefer the newer aesthetics of the Phobos, of the the Gravis. I get it. All these old ancient stuff and great pauldrons and all this bits and pieces. Sure, it was great for those original Space Marines. It really was. Fighting 10,000 years later, falling off the back of the Heresy where it was all gothic, all these bits and pieces. But we're marching forward in a new age of fighting. In a new age of a fighting force. So it has to look newer. It has to look cleaner, smoother, to operate better. And that's what Space Marines are all about, in my humble opinion. Again, guys, come at me in the comments. You know, your characters will have that aesthetic, and I think the characters should have that aesthetic. You know, to a degree, your ornaments and your knight, you're looking rather knightly and stuff. Sure, but in general, you know, they've got to look like, you know, the fighting elite unit that they should be. That's all I'm saying. And I think the new Blood Angels do a really good job of that. And I think a lot of the new stuff does a really good job of doing that. I appreciate the irony of me saying that when you've got Space Marines in like cloaks and stuff for the Inner Circle. I am aware of that. I am very aware. Okay, I'm very aware. But again, they're an elite fighting unit. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just rambling a little bit. But the Angel stuff, like I say, guys, you don't need nipples on armor. You don't need all that kind of stuff. You just need fighting effective units that's going to bring power, punch, with new lore, with new ways of fighting, with new ways of bringing down the Xenos and saving the Imperium of mankind. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm throwing out there. That's my 5 pence. That's my 5 pence. So, do I need to talk about it more? Don't know. Maybe I do. Maybe we don't. But I think that's a nice way to round off the controversy that is Blood Angels at the moment. Do you like the Blood Angels and the new bits and pieces they've got going for them? Or no? Are you not a fan? Let me know. Let me know in the comments section below if you like them or not. Me, I love the new Lamantes model. Mephiston looks great. Dante looks great. The Sanguinary Guard look great. Death Company look great. The upgrade sprues for Blood Angels, I think they look great. Do I agree with some of the lore and what they've done with like the Flesh Tearers and all that sort of stuff? Sure, not really. Kind of a bit of a jack move on by Games Workshop, but nevertheless, it's a great gaming system, and it's just a great time to be alive and to play. And I've no doubt that I end up getting the combat patrol for Blood Angels, because I think that looks great as well. That new captain looks mega, along with Sanguinary Guard, 6 of them, plus a whole team of intercessors that you could easily make into Death Company. You have 5 Death Company, 5 Blood Angel Space Marines, your captain, and then of course you've got your Sanguinary Guard. Just throwing it out there, guys. Just throwing it out there. Anyway, you bunch of heretics. That's kind of me, I suppose. I've rambled on long enough for this first episode of this weekly podcast. I say weekly podcast. You know me, guys. I probably won't get it all done right, but hey, I'm trying to get this done. Weekly podcast. That's the first episode done. Let me know what you think. What were your thoughts on it all? And also, where do you think people should start in this tabletop gaming journey? What would your thoughts be on that? But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. We'll be back next week, and of course, this week we have 2 more tutorials yet to be decided. Oh, in fact, I think Eisenhorn's out on Wednesday. Yeah, Eisenhorn's out on Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. So that should be fun. And then there'll be a nice little surprise for the weekend. All right, guys. So yes, hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode. If you have, give us a thumbs up, give it a like and a subscribe. You know the usual YouTube jargon that people come out with. Everyone's got a podcast. Everyone's got a brand. You love to hear it. You love to see it. Anyway, guys, much love. Signing off for now. See you on the next one, guys. Bye-bye.